Welcome to Political Issues, the podcast that breaks down politics in Botswana and beyond. I'm Untefet Ntau, your guide through the complex, ever-changing world of governance, elections, and policy making. Each week we sit down with experts, activists, and everyday citizens to have candid conversations about the issues that matters most. From corruption scandals to youth engagement in politics, from governance challenges to policy shifts, we are here to unpack it all with facts, insight, and different perspectives. Today we kick things off with critical discussion, the state of politics in Botswana and where we are now and what does the future hold. Let's tune in. Welcome back. Botswana has long been considered one of Africa's most stable democracies. But in recent years, political dynamics have shifted. Today we'll explore the current landscapes, the key players, the challenges, and the opportunities for change. Joining us is Mr. Pesala Mabuhasi, a political analyst and researcher who has been closely following Botswana's governance trends. Welcome, Mr. Buhasi.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We're joined by Ms. Ritabile Piri, a student activist and youth leader, to share their perspective. Welcome. Let's start with this. How has Botswana political scene evolved in the past decade, Mr. Buhasi?
I would say that it has really rapidly evolved for such a young nation. Let's not forget we're less than 100 years old. In our foundation of independence. There's a lot of individualism, I would say, within our policies and in the way we vote. You know, I'm sure that my colleague Ms. Piri would also mention the fact that the first time we have a change of government.
What does the end of Botswana Democratic Party's 58-year rule mean for the country's future?
A well-paved future it is, from my perspective. As the youth, I am really energized by the new government because so far so good, even though they're leaking somewhere, but it is a good government now. Looking at it, hasn't been long, it hasn't even been 5 years, but there's a difference comparing it from the previous government.
Okay. Mr. Buhasi, what can you add from her review?
Yeah, she raises some good points. That the youth feel very energized, very excited, very happy. That finally our voices have been heard, because the youth make up more than 50% of this nation. Yeah, there's some great hope in actual change. And we don't want those platitudes. Well, no, we'll help you. Here's some youth programs with no change. We don't want that anymore. We really want, generational impact. We want a future for Botswana where we can look on and be happy.
With the diamond market downturn, how is Botswana's planning to diversify its economy?
Right now, I would say, though they have stated some of the things that they want to invest in, it doesn't feel like they're fully committed, or there's some trepidation for it. I'm not too sure this is going to happen, mainly because of our history with, let's say corruption or mismanagement of funds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? They really wanted to expand in more beef, in the tourism sector, the entertainment sector, in more financial banking, right? I believe we once had a vision for Botswana to be the Switzerland of Africa, right? Where all the money comes to Botswana, we manage it, we'll be known for our financial acumen. But I also really do see a bright future in our entertainment sector, right? Just films and all that stuff. So I really do think that there's a good runway for us to reshape the future of this nation, because there's so many things that is great about Botswana that we can thrive in. And if we can get over the hurdle of maybe these guys might mismanage, these guys are too young. You see, I really do feel our nation will actually change for the better.
I heard you were talking about corruption. How can we end corruption in Botswana?
To be honest, corruption can never be
It
ended.
can never.
There is no society that doesn't have corruption, but we can just mitigate its impact on society at large, right? I do think more transparency, right? The government has done a great job at saying, we're actually going through the files, but like I feel like there's a big awakening across the world, right? Everyone wants accountability. So when you say you're going for corruption and we see people going to jail, right? Or seeing people paying the consequences of their actions that have impacted everyone, that's when people are happy. We don't only want to see accountability, we actually want to know, how did this person get those funds or mismanage this? How did this corruption actually come to be, right? I think once we actually get there, the levels of corruption will obviously reduce, because now we know how someone's being corrupt, and we can spot the signs before it's too late and reduce the impact. That's my great hope. But yeah, that's what the government is doing so far. But yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, Ms. Retabile Piri, there are organizations that care or trying to reduce the corruption. So what's your take on them? Are they doing their job or they're just being there?
Since I don't have an insight about those organizations, I would say they are, because so far the people from the parliament who have been arrested, but they were released later. Which is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. They are the pivot of that, of corruption. And for them to talk, it's gonna be something else.
Okay, let's talk about the youth unemployment, Mr. Bokas. What measures are being taken to address the high youth unemployment rate in Botswana?
So far, the immediate impact is not there. People are still broke. People still don't have steady jobs. They don't have a reliable income. I would say that there was an interesting measure of raising the minimum wage from 1,000, 2,000 to 4,000, right? Yeah, that's an interesting measure. I just don't know if it will impact youth unemployment, right? And I believe all of us know this, right?
It will only bring impact to those who are already employed.
Exactly, right? It only affects those people who are already employed immediately. Rona, who are still in school, trying to find jobs after school, how does it help future prospects? So, Tata, the immediate impact is not there. We might have some impact probably down the line after Duma Bogo's presidency if he's not re-elected. It's just, for me, it's not there.
Okay. Mrs. Pir, what do you think are the biggest hurdles facing Botswana's leadership today?
Lack of transparency,
Mhm.
Yes, that's true.
There is no unity because I get we are separated. Can we are being ruled? We kind of being ruled by different organizations. I could have different parties, but we know that there is only one party that rules. But other parties they do have an impact in them ruling us. The other thing will have to be not having to work with each other. What is it
Tapi
called?
there is no like public trust. Many citizens feel disconnected from decision making.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's also a concern over economic policies and whether they truly benefit all citizens.
That's true. Because I really, with that one in particular, a lot of these economic policies seems to favor people who are in higher positions.
Yeah.
People have big companies, but it doesn't help the middle class or even just the lower class in terms of economics, right?
Even though after all they're saying they wanna serve us, but it's them saving them.
Exactly. It's you get like at the end of the day, we don't see the results. You're getting more money, we get less. How is that you serving us, right? So I love results. I don't like speeches.
Thank you.
Okay, what steps can be taken to bridge the gap between policymakers and the people?
It's simple. People should actually listen to people, right? These policymakers, I feel most of them are out of touch, right? If you go to like, I was actually talking to a couple of friends during the elections. They were like, "Hey, man, I don't think I can vote for someone to be my elected representative in Mohoritan if he doesn't live in Mohoritan." Right? Yeah, we have a lot of those situations where someone wants to be a representative of Rekops, but he lives
But
in
they don't
Gaborone.
live there.
Or what? Someone wants to be an elected official for Francistown, but he stays in Maun. Or what? It's those things where it's like you need to be where the people are at for you to even consider yourself in a position of change.
Or leading them because at that point you don't know what they're dealing with, you don't know what they're suffering from. You just want to be there for money. Or
Exactly.
yes.
And I think it kind of goes back to your point of disunity, right? Although this is a change, right? UDC is not a party, it's a coalition of parties.
Yes.
Yes. And therefore, different factions are vying for influence, right? And that also kind of speaks to the separation of our traditional leadership styles of the chiefs and the khosis and the new westernized leadership of democracy. I feel that causes a lot of friction when I can't go when your grandmother had a tradition of going to the khosis and talking about their issues, and the khosis will find a way to actually solve that issue, right? Now we have elected representatives who are supposed to represent us in the parliament who have never talked to anybody from the ground level in what ever since they got voted in. Once they got voted in, they don't even know the names of the people who stay there. So those are the interesting things that happen.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Piri, can we talk about how young people engage with politics? What prevents them from participating, and how they can become more involved?
I think it's lack of saving because the youth need to see what you bring. You don't have to talk and not come to practice. Is it practice or make it happen? See the results. That is why they just beg off and not partake in all those things.
So the government have to fulfill their wishes.
I wouldn't say fulfill their wishes. I'll say engage, right? Like she says, we need to see service, right? what's the official or like one of those other names for people who are in parliament and they're called civil servants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're servicing your time to improve the lives of the people you say you're representing. So I feel like that has really made the youth cynical about the leadership and just people who are just serving in government because one terrible experiences go immigration. You have terrible experiences in
Anywhere you go.
any government institution where you're trying to get help. It's a terrible process. Therefore, you have a negative view all around. So even with our leaders, sure it's good to look well dressed, but if you look as if you just bought a new Louis Vuitton suit, I'm like, you're not serving me. You're serving me.
Yourself.
Okay, let's take a break. After the break, we'll be wrapping up for today. Welcome back. We've covered a lot today: the current state of politics, governance challenges, and youth engagement. But what does the future hold? To wrap up, let's hear from both our guests. What's one key change you would like to see in Botswana's political landscape in the next 5 years? Mr. Bogas.
One key change. I would prefer that we go away with the niceties, the platitudes, the euphemisms, or just be real. I want if we can change this culture, you have to be respectful. You can't tell this person exactly the truth. You have to go around the corners. Unfortunately, that's one of the characteristics of Botswana. They will never tell you the truth. But I would really love us to get to a point where we just be like, we're more truthful.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Exactly. I love the fact like the youth is more bold now. But if we can have a national transformation of, transparency and truth, and these discussions, I think we'll be probably heading in a direction that really transforms not only this nation but even the continent, because now we'll be the city on the hill, will be the shining example, the diamond amongst the rough.
Yeah.
Mrs. Piri?
Besa, were you listening to Burkina Faso president?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see?
Trial.
I want that thing that he said regarding the youth, but I can't find it.
Yeah.
But in all, he wrapped it all. Transparency is all what we need.
Powerful insights. Change starts with informed conversations like this, and more importantly, action. That's it for today's episode of Political Issues. We hope these discussions has sparked your thoughts and inspired you to stay engaged in Botswana's political landscape. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with friends. Follow us on social media handles for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember your voice matters.